Hi there, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News with me, Benis Abubeidu. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341. It's broadcasting live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telisol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telisol, just a touch. And UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, let's go. Coming up, Second Deputy Speaker Albert Gbagbin faces mounting criticisms for what many have described as his unsavory comments against some appointees of former President Mahama.
No. So when you form a government and make the Minister for Chieftaincy a blind person, and the chiefs are objecting, and you don't change it, what are you telling me?
Meanwhile, NDC's founder Jerry Rawlings urges leadership of the party to enforce rules governing campaign utterances against Mr. Gbagbin. We have details. Also, police attributes disapproval by two Muslim sects over marriage to chaos that left one house destroyed, with others reportedly sustaining machete wounds at Nandom in the Upper West region.
A young man from the Wangara section who wanted to marry a girl from the Moshi section, and because of their misunderstanding, the youth disagreed to the marriage of the two couples, and this actually brought about the clashes.
Meanwhile, the regional minister says these clashes have been lingering on despite efforts to deal with it amicably. We'll be live with our reporters on the ground for details.
We've got sports coming up later. In boxer Isaac Dogbe defends his WBO Super Bantamweight title for the first time this weekend in the States. And ahead of that bout, there is a huge endorsement from legendary promoter Bob Arum.
And Kumasi High Court dismisses writs by alumni of KNUST's Katanga and Unity Halls against decision to mix the halls.
I don't mince words. I intend to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation of, because University we relied heavily on the Constitution.
We'll hear from some of the alumni as they vow to head to the Supreme Court on the matter. Thanks for your company. The details now. Former President Jerry John Rawlings has urged the leadership of the opposition NDC to enforce rules governing campaign utterances. He has also condemned recent comments by flag-bearer aspirant Albert Gbagbin, blaming the NDC's defeat partly to the appointment of persons with disability into government. Mr. Gbagbin has so far been criticized by various groups with calls on him to retract and apologize. The NDC's founder, Jerry John Rawlings, maintains the statements by Mr. Gbagbin are contrary to the values of the party. We'll hear from his office shortly, but first take a listen to a wrap of the recent comment made by Mr. Gbagbin.
The second deputy speaker, who is one of the longest-serving members of parliament, has over the past weeks been touring parts of the country, meeting NDC members as part of his quest to lead the party. His message on how he intends to make the NDC a strong force is receiving little attention compared to his criticism of former President Mahama's choice of appointees.
If you are not whole, can you be a chief or a queen mother? No. So when you form a government and make the Minister for Chieftaincy a blind person, and the chiefs are objecting, and you don't change it, what are you telling the chiefs?
Mr. Gbagbin also questioned the choice of Dr. Omane Boamah as communication minister, saying his stammering disability affected the government's communication and contributed to the party's electoral defeat. His comments have drawn widespread condemnation from sections of the society, including the Federation of Disability Organizations.
I personally will advise him to retract and apologize.
Mr. Gbagbin's comments have touched most nerves, but within the NDC itself, opinions on the matter are mixed. While some leaders in the party have criticized his utterances and hinted of disciplinary action, other members disagree.
He's a very good man. Abambabe is a very good man. But I should leave Mama to move us forward.
This is just a simple issue. The MPP should not be happy over this.
Meanwhile, the Nadoli Kalio MP is yet to apologize or respond to the criticisms against him.
Well, former President Jerry Rawlings is unhappy about the comments made by Mr. Gbagbin in relation to persons with disability. Here are extracts of the statement.
The former president, who is also the chairman of the party's Council of Elders, said the comments of Mr. Gbagbin were unacceptable and contrary to the values and principles of social inclusion of the NDC party, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, emphasized that the ongoing intra-party democratic processes taking place are meant to further deepen the democratic credentials of the party, and indicated that the National Executive Committee of the party will have to ensure the full application of the rules and regulations governing party utterances and electioneering. Such utterances have the tendency to negatively affect the unity and cohesion of the party, the former president stated.
Let's stay a while with NDC internal politics, because political scientist Professor Ransford Jampo believes former President Mahama, who is also in the race to become flag bearer of the party for the 2020 elections, may be popular, but that will not guarantee victory for him. We'll bring you that, but John News' Malik Dabu of our political desk has been assessing Mr. Mahama's chances.
The candidature of the former president puts the NDC in a very difficult, confused state. First, he represents the party's brightest chance at winning the next election, however dim the prospects may be. He is a household name, he has recognition, he remains a superstar, he has the nobility, the charisma, and the political acumen to back a claim for the presidency, and of course, the backs to run a campaign. However, Mr. Mahama appears to be putting personal interest over and above group interest. If Mr. Mahama does win in 2020 and leaves the presidency in 2025, election 2024 will need a fresh NDC candidate without history backing. This is perilous for the party. This has been the main argument for Spiogabra, a contender in the race. And this is in the overall interest of the party, he says. Another thing that may plague a John Mahama candidature is what another contender, Aban Sumani Bagwin, described as a family and friends government. In NDC circles, Mr. Mahama is heavily criticized in harsh tones for alienating the core support base of the NDC. Many people in the traditional stronghold of the Volta region maintain the region and its people were largely ignored, both in terms of tangible development and representation in terms of appointments in the government. It is therefore not surprising that stalwarts of the NDC from the region, like Victor Beho, will openly campaign for Professor Alabi. Also, clearly, his leadership attracted opprobrium for lack of decisiveness and clarity of purpose. Anti-corruption campaigners and civil society organizations are unanimous that he did very little in fighting against graft and ostentation in his government. He will therefore struggle to convince the electorate that he can do anything different. Closely related to this is the view that the president did not deliver to the satisfaction of the electorate, and this reflected on the emphatic rejection of his re-election bid. Mr. Mahama is the overwhelming favorite to win the nomination, but he may lead a fractured party into 2020 and probably leave it in a much worse state when he eventually bows out of the stage, whether or not he gets the opportunity to clean the blot on his rather unblemished record until 2016.
That was Malik Dabu's analysis of Mr. Mahama's chances read to you. A political scientist, Professor Ransford Jampo, wants the former president to focus on reaching out to grassroots party members if he wants to lead the NDC.
It is important for him to be advised that, yes, popularity he is, but there are other aspirants who are also working behind the scenes very hard to also court some popularity for themselves. So politics is not about all for what you do for the cameras. It's also about what you do behind the scenes and door to door. That also endear yourself to people who really matter in deciding who becomes the flag bearership. And so you must be mindful of that. Even though I'm also aware some are not doing so well in declaring or making people know that they also want to contest. Some are engaging in utterances that in my view are politically suicidal and would harm their fortune. But generally, there are others who are also serious, who are also trying to court popularity for themselves.
You heard political scientist Professor Ransford Jampo. Meanwhile, first vice chairperson and director of elections of the opposition NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, is kicking against calls for the party's current national executives seeking re-election to be voted out.
Anybody who comes up with that proposal doesn't understand politics and doesn't know what institutional memory and experience is. Take the MPP. When they came, they lost power. They have some executives who steered the party, even when we were in government and they lost power. They had to go back to the experienced ones. They went back for McManu, they went back for Dambotre, they went back for Lord Comey and others to come and play a key role in the last election. It means that their experiences were brought to bear on the election that they won. And so you cannot wish away experience. Anybody who tells you that, I have served on IPAC, for instance, for the past 16 years or so. The wealth of experience that I bring to IPAC, you go to the Electoral Commission and ask them, you have been at IPAC meeting, and you yourself will bear testimony of the fact that, to wipe the slate is a suicidal mission. To say that NDC should wipe the slate and let all the current executive go is to say that we are committing a political suicide, and we'll pay a very dear price for it. And I will not go for that prescription.
You heard NDC First Vice Chairperson and Director of Elections Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, who's also hoping to be chairman of the party. Away from that, police say disapproval between two sects of Muslims over a marriage sparked the chaos in Nandom in the Upper West region last night. There were bloody clashes that left a house destroyed, with some residents sustaining machete wounds. We'll be live with our reporter, but first, Upper East Regional Minister Al-Hassan Suleiman has been explaining the lingering issues behind the violence that have existed for years. Listen.
It has been there for some time, but it has been simmering. It has been there for a while, at least. We have tried as much as possible to contain the situation, and we have been speaking to the people to be patient, and they shouldn't take the law into their own hands, so that we'll get whoever is the rightful successor to the late Imam. RECSEC even set up a committee long ago to listen to all the stakeholders, and the report is currently with me. I must say that we want to resolve it amicably amongst all the feuding parties, and our hope is that we want to do the right thing so that it will not recur, this conflict won't recur again. The police have been able to contain the situation, and the town is calm as of now.
Upper East Regional Minister Al-Hassan Suleiman there. Meanwhile, the police say, though the chaos can be linked to the disagreement over who the chief imam in the area should be, last night's chaos was directly sparked by factions of the Muslim community not agreeing to an intended marriage. Deputy Regional Police Commander for the region, ACP Peter Indekugri, spoke on Joy News Desk on the Multi-TV channel.
A section of the Muslims who are Wangaras and a section of the Muslims who are Moshi people. And that is where the problem is, about the appointment of a chief imam, and that brought the misunderstanding. But actually the immediate action was as a result of a young man from the Wangara section who wanted to marry a girl from the Moshi section. And because of their misunderstanding, the youth disagreed to the marriage of the two couples. And this actually brought about the crisis.
But with regards to the issue of selection of the chief imam, we are told that during some time in this year, RECSEC had to shut down the central mosque in Nandom. Has it been opened, and how far we're dealing with that problem?
That's why it has been open, and they have been worshiping peacefully. They have been worshiping peacefully. But like I said, there is a faith between the appointment of the chief imam. Even though they worship together, but there's still that faith that there's a disagreement as to who should be the chief imam. Things are under control. We have deployed enough security men, and the whole place is calm. Absolutely, when you come to Nandom, you never realize that there has been any problem. Everything is calm.
With regards to yesterday's violence, have any arrests been made?
Arrests have not been made, but names have been identified. Names have popped up, and the rest to go to the matter. When they go into the matter, and we will be focused.
ACP Peter Indekugri is Deputy Upper West Regional Police Commander. He spoke to me earlier on News Desk on the Multi-TV channel. Apologies, we are unable to raise our reporter on the ground, but police has assured that there is calm in the area. Supreme Court Judge nominee Justice Agnes Mercy Abla-Dodi has defended the current legal regime where there is no cap on the number of justices at the highest court of the land. The Constitution gives a minimum of 9 with no maximum maximum. Justice Dodi says the legal system works better this way. She said this when she appeared before Parliament's vetting committee today.
Those of us who have been in the system that rise to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court. So when it comes to empaneling, the larger the number, the better. Because you may have to recuse yourself when you have decided a case in the lower court. And when it happens that way, then the Supreme Court may be handicapped in getting empaneled. So I think the number as we have it is not too large. It makes empaneling easier.
Supreme Court Judge nominee Justice Agnes Dodi there. Joseph Opoku-Gapo is our parliamentary correspondent. He joins me on the line. So, Joseph, what more has she been saying at the vetting?
She's been commenting on what more needs to be done in order to ensure people who get into trouble with the law get access to legal aid. And she's making the point that it's about time legal aid is expanded and that organizations like the Federation for International Lawyers are tools so that then they'll be able to help provide legal aid services. There was a question to her about the investigation into the cocaine and baking soda issue some years ago, which she was involved in to a certain extent as far as the committee that investigated that particular issue was concerned. And there was a question about how the police have been doing in terms of investigating such issues and bringing the perpetrators to book. She expressed concern that in the past the police used to do a very good job when it comes to investigating some of these issues. But then that is not so. And in her words, she's been asking that it's about time that the police sit up and do their jobs better. And she's also been noting that the delays when it comes to the legal processes is something that needs to be fixed so that then justice will be dispensed as quickly as possible so cases don't pen in court for a very long time.
Joseph, are we expecting any other person to appear before the committee?
The final nominee who is to be vetted is former president of the Ghana Bar Association, Nene Amegate. And it's expected that this particular vetting of Justice Dodi will be done in the next few minutes, and then Nene Amegate will then take the seat.
Great. Joseph Opoku-Gapo there from Parliament. Now, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has dispatched officials to assist communities in distress in the northern region. This is because the high volumes of rainfall this year has submerged some farmlands around the White Volta Basin in the Upper East region and areas cut off as a result of the flood. Now, this also comes on the heels of the spillage of the Bagri Dam. Already, farmers at Polugo are worried their farms will be destroyed. Some of them have been speaking to correspondent Albert Sori.
Those who farm along the White Volta, every year will farm, water will take it. People are saying that the farmers should vacate. If farmers are going to vacate, where are we going to get a land and farm? When you go to the uplands and you don't have money, you can't access money to buy fertilizer. So it's a worry. And more to the point, instead of our leaders should go to Burkina Faso and see the way they are also open their water. I think a water have a meter ban. Maybe if it is 100, then you see that their dam is overflowing. They should advise the Burkina Faso people to regulate the water, maybe 10%.
Well, Deputy NADMO Coordinator Abu Ramadan says the farmers have been asked to harvest their produce ahead of the spillage.
To the best of our information, we've not received the message, so we are waiting. We are on standby waiting for them. We have an agreement when they're about opening, they would notify us. So we are waiting for them to give us official communication.
Told us that some communities have been cut away because of the downpour in some areas.
You know, most of the communities that my team have visited, the problem is the farms have been flooded and they've been properly submerged underwater. And aside that too as well, some communities too around the Binduri area, their bridges have been washed away, so they've been cut from the access route has been cut. So our men are even on their way back to base. But we deploy some men there today to go and help ferry people from one side to the other.
Do you have a situation whereby people have been displaced because of these?
Not yet, because most of places we are talking about are farmland. Just a very few. It's not caused a major displacement. Just a very few incidents here and there. But it is nothing alarming that would give us some panic buttons. But our men are on their way back, so that should tell you the situation is fully under control.
Deputy NADMO Coordinator Abu Ramadan there. This is the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Benis Abu Baidu. Still to come, Kumasi High Court dismisses writs by alumni of KNUST's Katanga and Unity Halls against decision to mix the halls.
I don't mince words. I intend to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation of, because University we relied heavily on the Constitution.
We'll hear more from these alumni as they vow to head to the Supreme Court on the matter. Details shortly.
That is the sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pocket. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website mackghana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
Thanks so much for staying here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Redwan Asante is here with the latest. Today we are focusing on boxing.
Absolutely, but I like your family feud. 6 a.m. and 10 a.m.
Redwan, what's happening in the world of sports?
We have to talk boxing, and Isaac Dogbe will be defending his WBO Super Bantamweight title for the first time against Japan's Hindenori Otake on Saturday at the Gila River Arena in Arizona, USA. Dogbe won the title 5 months ago when he recovered from a knockdown to post an 11th round technical knockout victory over Jesse Magdaleno. Joy Sports boxing analyst Nathaniel Atto looks ahead to the bout and its significance.
Isaac the Royal Storm Dogbe, a 2012 Olympian, has traveled a fulfilling journey so far in the pugilistic sport, and he showed glimpses of greatness in his first 10 fights, which caused many expert eyes around the world to pay attention to him. When Dogbe met his first experienced opponent, the then undefeated Edward Kakembo, he overpowered the Ugandan to win the WBO Africa belt. Then came the very tough Filipino John Neil Tabanao, whose defeat earned Dogbe the WBC Youth belt and the WBO Oriental in addition to his WBO Africa belt. The young Ghanaian boxer then defeated two of the division's other contenders in Julian Aristule and Javier Chacon, who each had at least twice Dogbe's fight experience. But his father and trainer Paul criticized him publicly about his performance and demanded more. Dogbe absorbed his father's criticism, and before a packed Bukom boxing arena on January 6th this year, a more attack-oriented and defensive Dogbe delivered a class act of a performance to stop Mexican Cesar Juarez, who then had a record of 20 wins and 5 losses. Juarez was a good boxer, but Dogbe proved superior. Then came the champion Jesse Magdaleno, and Dogbe did not disappoint. It was a stern line of crisp punching combinations and an all-attack style. In the end, when Dogbe was declared the new champion, Magdaleno bowed to him in sportsmanly respect. The young man from the Volta region of Ghana looks forward to delivering yet another performance against a rather tough and experienced Hidenori Otake. But from the endorsements from greats including the greatest Azum Nelson, there is every indication that boxing fans are in for yet another entertaining performance from Isaac the Royal Storm Dogbe.
Nathaniel Atto there reporting on the bout tomorrow. Also, he talked about the comparison between Dogbe and then Professor Zunzuma Zuma Nelson. Now, Bob Arum is renowned in the boxing promotion industry. He's CEO of Top Rank Promotion, and he's a big fan of Dogbe.
I was impressed with his performance because obviously, when you get knocked down in the first round and you come back and you then stop your opponent, That's very impressive. But even more, I was impressed with him as a person. He has charisma. He is everything you want.
He's everything encapsulated in a boxer. That's how you end it. We'll be bringing you details of Dugbe's fight. Follow us on our pages on social media, and we bring you all the details you need to know.
Thank you, Ridwan Asante. Now, a high court in Kumasi has rejected 2 motions for interlocutory injunction to restrain authorities of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology from going ahead to convert single-sex halls of residence into mixed facilities. The actions were separately filed by alumni of Mill Halls, Katanga and Unity, whose lawyers are already serving notice they will head to the Supreme Court over the matter. Lawyer for Katanga Hall, Stephen Asante Bekwe, says the university's decision violates the Constitution of Ghana.
I don't mince words. I intend to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation of, because university, we relied heavily on the Constitution. A lot of things that are happening breach the Constitution of 1992, and we intend to go to the Supreme Court for interpretation. We are saying that you cannot displace males. You cannot displace males to the advantage of females. You cannot bring females to the hall for males to be displaced.
While some aggrieved residents and other alumni of the hall say they are disappointed in the government and education ministry for allowing such a policy to be implemented.
I feel so angry and devastated about this issue because the government is supposed to come into this issue, but they've neglected us. I quite remember the year 2016 when Anado was coming on campus to do campaign. Our VC, Professor Obi Danso, told him that that place is not a place for political grounds. We the Katangis and Continentals, we stood for you, Nanado. We stood for you. We blocked Hall 7 and various roads for you to campaign to us. And we were the people who voted for you. So why have you neglected us?
Well, in a separate development, frustrated level 100 students of the University of Ghana have been stranded after they were not able to secure accommodation online. This is largely due to the insufficient number of rooms at the various traditional and new halls of the university. Joy News is learning the online residential portal was open on Wednesday and all the rooms were booked. For many of the freshers, the worry is the astronomical prices they will have to pay to reside in private hostels. We'll be live with our reporter on the ground, but first, here's some frustrated level 100 students.
Coming all the way from the north to this place, you realize that the rooms available had been taken. Actually, the university stated that in the admission letter that accommodation is not assured. So you have to contact the host and then register for it. But when the portal was open, that was 15th at 10 a.m. Within a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, all the rooms had been taken. And so some of us have come, which is the majority, still looking for a place to lodge. It's actually a difficult situation because once you are unstable, you can't even think of focusing or concentrating on your studies for now. And
a frustrated level 100 student, sorry, we can take you live there. Let's head to the seat of government, the Jubilee House. That is where the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II is meeting President Akufo-Addo. But we understand they will be discussing matters of national importance. The visit comes immediately at the back of the historic visit of the Asantehene to Ochihene Osajefo Amote Oferipein at Chebi in the Eastern region yesterday. Presidential correspondent Elton Brobe joins us on the line with an update. Elton, would it be accurate to say this is the first official visit by the Asantehene to the seat of government since the Akufo-Addo administration came into power?
So, Bennett, in brief, the Otumfuo says that he's only here to first congratulate President Akufo-Addo and to encourage him to push through his program and activity to transform the country. He's more particularly worried about high levels of unemployment in the country. He's hopeful that the plans and programs in place by the government will help resolve it. But he's asking President Akufo-Addo to double his effort and ensure that the targets he set for himself are achieved within the period that he's president.
Thank you, Elton Brobe, there bringing us that update from the seat of the presidency. It's now time for What's Trending, Mapito CBD.
And Charlie Water 2018 is trending at Shed Motor says, while some people are looking for the dress to wear for the hashtag Charlie Water 2018, others are also looking for different ways to increase their profits in their business. And at Israeli Amwa 95 says, come and feed your eyes with art and ears with music. Hashtag Charlie Water 2018. The last comment is from at Kobe, Bra Kobe, who says, hashtag Charlie Water is trending. First time in the week. See y'all there.
All right, see you all there. It's happening on Saturday and Sunday. And that's how we wrap up this edition of Joy News, the midday news on Joy 99.7 FM. And then it's Abu Bedu. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Do enjoy the rest of your day.